How's it going?
Oh, Lord. And then you just open with that question, and it will definitely carry us into the very end. Um, it has been a journey. It's been a journey. The last time I talked to you, I think I had just come back to Alabama and was like auditioning right out of my living room. And, it was actually, when I got back to Alabama with my Atlanta agent, I think I auditioned more in that first year than I did my entire time in LA for 14 years. Like, it was a thing, how people go, you see those memes like, hey, one day actors take for granted, like when you have auditions, it's like, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So this is the thing that you prayed for one day or whatever. And I remember being in LA and like, whew, those auditions came like once a month, or twice a month. And you had to just figure out how to feed your artistic actor brain soul in between, And it wasn't a lot of theater in LA, to audition, make a living out of. I did a lot of free theater there, but that can be taxing because you working and rehearsing all night and weekends gone. But anyway, so I auditioned probably more that year than I did my entire time in LA for the whole entire 14 years. And so I had been home and I'm working on a show. I'm kind of part of this thing called Kremov Lab, which is Dmitry Kremov is like a Russian director, and he was one of my guest teachers in grad school, like my second year in grad school. So he worked with us. He also teaches at Yale, and so he was in America directing a show when the Ukraine war started. And so he kind of spoke out against it and was ostracized, exiled. And so he's trying to rebuild. Well, he's not trying, he is. He's rebuilding his company here in New York.
Okay.
And so I'm fortunate and blessed enough to be one of the actors in the show. And so we have a show that opens in September, and it closes mid October, and it's called The American Onegin and the Americans. And we worked on it last December. In November we rehearsed because it's a devised piece, so it's like in our own words, where he basically is telling the Onegin, which is a Russian, was written by a Russian. It was a play and it's been a movie, so I'm doing that, working on that. But what happened to me is that, and I don't know if a lot of actors, talk about, I don't know if a lot of actors actually experience this. So I had booked a show in Florida, Top Dog Underdog, where I was playing Lincoln. And my grandmother passed away the day I left for rehearsal. So I thought I could, go and do the show, put all that energy into the show and dedicate the show to her. Like every freaking performance was going to be dedicated to her. Before I left, and we knew she was passing, and she was 83, and she kind of did things. She passed away on her own terms, and it was beautiful. My family was there, surrounding her, but I kissed her, and I just basically told her how much I loved her, and I also said my little favorite joke to her that we both have, and our little moment, and so I left, and by the time I got to Atlanta for my connecting flight, She had passed away. And so I thought that I could like go off and do the show. And her funeral was that Saturday, so I had to talk to, and I had prepped them and to let them know that, you know, things weren't looking great, and I don't know how, you know, how we could do this, and they allowed me to miss 2 rehearsals, and so I came back home Friday, and her funeral was that following Saturday. So she died on a Monday, funeral was Saturday, and I think that's when it kind of went. Like I started to lose focus. I could not sleep. I could see myself on the stage in rehearsal. When it was great, it was going great. I could see myself losing myself on stage, like knowing the lines, knowing the intentions, knowing what I'm doing. But as my castmate was talking to me, I wouldn't be there, you know? No sleep, maybe 30 minutes here. And then, like, because I couldn't sleep, I was like, well, let me work on my material. Even in all of this, like, you know, 2 o'clock in the morning, let me just take my stuff out and like go over my lines, go over my intentions, go over, you know, what I'm trying to achieve here in this scene. And it just didn't work out. And I had to leave. Because I really thought that I was gonna lose it if I didn't take that break. So I had to basically process my grandmother's death. One of my first professional shows out of grad school, leaving it with the dream job, with the dream team. And my dream team basically feels a certain way. It doesn't look a certain way. It feels like love. And these people were amazing. Like, and I shout out to Palm Beach Drama Works. Like, they were amazing. They ended up recasting. I felt terrible about that, but I don't regret making the decision. I only have a regret that I should have done it immediately. You know, I should have done it early on instead of, because, you know, like, Halima, I'm also trying to like undo things that I was taught, right? Undo things that either it was, because we get, most people think like you get most of your stuff from your you know, your upbringing, and I think that's true, but remember, we spend, you know, most of our awake time in schools, right? So that's influence. So you're gonna pick up a lot of stuff in our society that just not necessarily that didn't come from your home, you know. So I've been trying to undo a whole lot of things, especially being a Black man and just like being vulnerable and being okay with that, and whatever, however anyone wants to judge that, they can. But and when I say I was trying to undo that, is that I said, I can do this for her.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to pick up,
carry on,
and carry on.
Yeah.
Not even looking at the information, not even like giving my grandmother her proper space in my whole soul. So my mother was 17 when she had me. I lived with my grandmother most of my life. She was my second mother. So it was like, who buries a mother and then goes off to do something alone when all of my family is here? And, you know, thank God that the pandemic brought me here, because the last 2 years was great spending time with her, you know. And so I don't regret that. And I thank God for the pandemic. Like, a lot of great things came out of, you know, me, the pandemic, and me moving back home. And so I did what I thought Like, and meanwhile, I'm trying to undo all these things, and I was like, God doggone it, I got caught up. And I did that thing that's standard and it's supposed to be, and everybody's gonna be proud, and I crashed and burned, you know, because I did not allow myself to feel and be honest, really, really honest about where I am. Because I wanted to do the job. It was going great. It was great. And yeah. And I'll never forget my director, the director of the show, after I came in and I broke down and I was like, I think I have to leave. And we talked it out and whatever, they were gracious. And and what the director said is, I think your grandmother is giving you another message. She's telling you that you're gonna have to put yourself first. You got to take care of yourself first. And so I think, you know, like when she said that to me, I could feel like this weight lifted off of me. And I was solid about the decision that I made. But it was hurtful because I felt like a failure, you know. I felt like
Because you don't want to let other people down.
Yeah. Yep. It was something, you know. And to be honest, I have just started to feel better. Honestly. And this was back in May. So I was just starting to feel like somewhat of a whole person now, you know. Yeah. And then like I'm a worker. Like I like to work. I like to be busy. I also love money as well, because why not?
Right.
And like being here, like idle. I was working with my buddy, but that but that kind of, you know, I'm shifting out of that. So, but finding things to do, trying to stay encouraged, trying to stay artistically motivated. When you went from 5 auditions a week, you know, 3 minimum to every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You have to figure it out, you know. But that's where I am, and yeah, I'm having a better week this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was May, like last month.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a lot of time. You said it was May, like it was so long ago.
Wait, I'm not here. I'm saying like I don't feel like I don't want to jump off of a building anymore. Like I feel like I'm just looking over now. Yeah. When the urge was,
yeah.
Now it's like I feel like I can possibly make it.
Yes.
You know.
I've definitely been there.
Yeah.
100%.
So, but not, and I, you know, and I don't expect myself to, like, the whole thing with losing, like, that's one thing that I would really love to sit down and talk to God about, like, bruh, like, that thing, homie, you know what I mean? Like, what were you thinking? Like, like, and did you what's the purpose of it? And none of that. And I know we have different theologians and scripture and stuff like that people like justify it, but I don't care. You can try to justify it, but then you tell that to my soul. Exactly. Right? I don't care
why right now? Why right now?
Yes. Like, do you understand? Like, I had this job, I booked this job last year. My grandmother died the day I left for rehearsal.
Yeah.
What? Like,
Really? Yeah.
Like, what is it you need me to? But listen. But I'm going to always put myself first, and if I can't do it, I'm gonna say it. Can't do it.